question. Okay, serious question. Okay, so really think about this. You ready? Okay. For all of you who clicked on this video and are watching at this very moment, no matter how long after I've uploaded, okay, okay, first of all, let's back up just a little bit. Okay, we're in December, right? The 3rd. Yeah. One of my favorite times of year. Times of year. You know what I mean? You might, maybe around now, maybe about a week ago, however long it's been now, start thinking to yourself, what am I gonna put on my Christmas list? Right? Maybe it wasn't that hard for you. You know, maybe it took a little bit if you've already made it. You know, maybe you're not quite sure just yet, but you're getting there. You know, maybe you have some things written down. You know, just some maybe random things that might have popped in your head. You know, you looked around on Amazon, you know, wherever, wrote it down. So again, we're in December. You know, my question to you though, if, okay, wherever he might be right now, maybe prepping, maybe making sure the elves are in order, reindeer are in order, maybe himself is in order, I don't know his life. But if Santa was out there listening to you right now, what are some things that maybe immediately pop in your head that you would love to get? You know, you would love to wake up in the morning, maybe afternoon, whenever you wake up on Christmas Day, and maybe hope for. I mean, you know, I'm just, you know, what would you ask? You know, maybe write it down, send it in. I mean, put it right here. I mean, I'm sure, you know, he could probably help you. I mean, he's got the hookup. He knows him. Just say. So, here are some of mine. Just some simple things, you know. Not really too much to ask for, honestly, you know. But if it was possible, here are some things I would hope that he's out there listening to, you know. Number one, I probably mentioned it at least 1,000,000 times, almost. My dream home. Now, again, you know, I've mentioned before, I have literally started decorating in my head, and I am nowhere near having it. I mean, I have like 60 some dollars to my name. Gotta be honest here. But if it was possible, you know, again, he was out there listening to me right now. You know, I said whether he's making sure the elves, reindeer are in order, his sleigh's in order, you know, I don't know, prepping for all of those cookies and milk, you know. That's the one thing I would ask him for, that I would just love right about now. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, a girl is in need of moving out, of course. Like I've mentioned before, I mean, am I ashamed for still being at home? No. Why would I? I mean, I don't need to hear it from people. I already know, okay? But sometimes life just doesn't work out how you want it. And you unfortunately don't get to have the things that you thought maybe you would have by now. You know? That's just how it is. Unfortunately. So again, that would be the one thing. You know? Number two, I feel like maybe this one really could have been number one. Especially after all I've been through lately. But a cure for diabetes. Because, like I've mentioned before, 24 years with it, at least for me, I'm over it. After being hospitalized for it so many times, and even recently, this past Sunday, right before Thanksgiving, I'm over it. I am over having to wake up at a certain time for breakfast, which I mean, I wake up at about 6:30. I don't have to, but I think I've mentioned before that's just the time that I've kept, and then go right back to bed. But wake up at whatever time, maybe, breakfast, of course, but then, of course, go throughout the day having to check myself, burn fingerprints, and having to take a shot maybe if I need it, or try to bring it up somehow. I am over it. Having to go to the pharmacy, whenever I might need said medicine, that would be great to just not have to worry about that anymore. And I'm certain I'm not the only one who sits around every day thinking it. No matter how long you've been diagnosed. Number three. This probably shouldn't really be a shocker to anyone. Tickets. Okay. It was possible. Just see these guys up here. It's sick. Of course, you can't see all of them, but for those who know, I think I have mentioned on here before, I unfortunately, as a kid, never got to see them live. That still saddens me, but, it is what it is. I mean, my first concert, I think, wasn't until 2011, I believe. But it would be really awesome. Obviously, maybe to have the money for it, first of all. If I, at a certain point, got to see them, or got it on my own. But for Christmas, nonetheless, of course, it still would be awesome, obviously. But if it ever became possible, childhood dream unlocked right there. That would make my entire existence on this earth. Now, I'm sure if that became possible, I'm certain they probably damn well they would sell out like that. I'd probably be sad, but there's always a glimmer of hope, Finally, last but not least, number four. I might add in a bonus if I can think of another one, maybe, but she has just some That is one of the things that kind of terrifies me about driving. I mean, not saying obviously that, it will for sure happen. I mean, again, obviously. But it's still like, it's kind of embedded up here a little bit. Knowing again that it could, I mean, again, not saying that it 100%, but I would still love to at least learn, finally get my license, and then work my way to a car. It would be great. Because then I could definitely, obviously, yeah, of course, I know where I was going with that. Maybe leave the house when I wanted, I wouldn't have to rely on my mom, father, whoever, because I'm not gonna lie, that is one of the things that you kind of hate, when you're someone like me and you're about my age, and you haven't learned just quite yet. I'm not gonna lie, asking for a ride somewhere just, I don't feel right about it sometimes. I don't know why. Granted, they might not have a problem with it. But I don't know. Just something about it. I kind of, but it happens. It would just be nice to finally not have to worry about like certain things anymore. So there are my 4 just little simple things, that if Santa was out there listening right now, I would be like, if it's possible, I don't ask for much, ever. But just these 4 little simple things, maybe. So again, what are some of yours that you would put on hers? Well, give a shout out to the big man.